All right, I'm going over chapter 1 and chapter 2 midterm reviews. You guys have 3 and 4 next and then 5, but for now we did 6 and algebra review. I'm just going to go over these. Yes, I will post the solutions on Canvas so you have them. So looking at these ones should have been more on the easier side, hopefully. We're just kind of seeing what it's asking for. Use the diagram and determine whether the statement is true or false. So point A lies on M. So here's line M. A is on M, so this one is true. Looking at the next one, point D lies on line N. No, it does not, so this is false. Looking at the next one, point B, C and E are coplanar. What does coplanar mean? Good. B, E, and C are in the same plane, but not Q. So this is false. Looking at the next, it says E, C, and B are collinear. What's collinear?
Same line.
Is it on the same line? No, it is not. So this is also false. And then looking at the last one, it says another name for plane G is QEC. So here's plane G. I have Q, E, and C. Is that true or false?
False.
False. Why?
Q is not on the plane.
Good. Q is not on the plane. All right. Yep. This is false. All right. Looking at the next 3. Find the indicated length. So for this one, they're giving me my whole line. And part of my whole line, all I have to do for this is subtract. So 52 minus 30, that's going to give me 22. So my measurement for HJ is 22, not degrees. Same thing with here. They're giving me my whole and a part. So I have to subtract 18 minus 7. I'm going to get 11. So BC equals 11. And looking at the last one, they're only giving me the 2 segments. So for this, if I want to find the entire thing, I would have to add 45 and 26. I'm going to get 71, and that is my answer for this one. Do we have any questions on the first 8? Hopefully they were on the easier side. Okay. All right, number 12. A lot of students ask me this one. Okay, for this question, you may see it on the midterm. This one's asking for an end point, not for the midpoint. However, for this question, you still need to know the formula for midpoint. So the formula for midpoint is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Okay, keep in mind that's what equals your midpoint. Okay, so when you're solving for number 12, what you need to plug in, I'm going to do it at the side right here, is your end point, which is 3. So I'm writing it as 3 plus, I don't know what my other end point is, divided by 2 equals 9, because these are my x's. And then my y, I'm going to do the same thing. I have my end point for y plus, I don't know what my other end point is, divided by 2 equals 7. Now I have to solve this. So solving it is like a 2-step equation. Multiply both sides by 2. I'm going to get 3 plus x equals 18. Subtract 3. X is going to equal 15 for this one. And then looking at the next one, multiply by 2. So I'm going to get 9 plus y equals 14. And then subtract both sides by 9. So y is going to equal 5. Okay, please do not forget how to do this question. I want to say previous years or tests, former tests, this has been the question that most students get wrong. So definitely review how to do this one. So point B equals, writing it as ordered pair, 15, 5. Questions on that one?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we have to do it this way, like find a different?
Okay, if you want to graph it, that's fine, but there's most likely not going to be graph for this question. But if you know how to do it a different way, that's fine.
AC is out?
Yeah. Gracie?
The AC is out?
I think so. Yeah. I've emailed Tony already, so he
I'm
knows.
gonna go get.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, 13. So when you're looking at it, all right, for 13, it says line T bisects CD at point M. So I'm a visual person. I need to draw this. So here is my line. Okay, here's C, or you know what? Take that back. It's segment. Here's C, here's D. T bisects it at point M. This is line T. So if it's bisecting, what does bisect mean? Good. It cuts it in half evenly. So this is congruent to this. So CM is 3x and MD is 27. Do I need to solve for x? No, I don't have to. They're not asking me to solve for x. But because this segment right here is 27, this segment is also going to be 27. And in order for me to find the entire thing, you just add it twice or multiply it by 2. 27 times 2, that's going to give me 54. So CD equals 54. All right, looking at 15, it says in exercise 14 and 15, but there is no 14, use the diagram. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look. KHJ is 90 degrees. So I'm going to draw my little 90-degree segment. And they want me to specifically find angle LHJ. So first thing I'm going to do is I need to solve for x. Solving for x, I'm going to add my two angles. So I have 8x minus 1 plus 4x plus 7 equals 90. Combine my like terms. My x's are going to go together. My constants are going to go together. I'm going to get 12x. Plus 6 equals 90, and solve for x. So I'm subtracting 6 from both sides. 12x equals 84, and then divide by 12. X equals 7. And all I have to do is plug it in specifically to this angle because that's what they're asking me for. So plugging it in, I'm going to get 4 times 7 plus 7. I'm going to get 28 plus 7. And my answer is going to be 35 degrees. Questions on that one? Questions on 15? All right, 16. Again, visual. I'm going to draw it. You don't necessarily have to draw this one if you read it out, but I'm just going to draw it so you can see what it looks like. So looking at it, it says given the measure of angle K, H, just kidding, that's the wrong one. Number 16. The measure of angle Q, here's Q, R, T is 154 degrees. I'm just going to write it right there. And RS bisects. So like we said before, bisects means cut in half equally. So this angle is congruent to this angle. What are the measure of QRS and SRT? So if they're congruent, they're equal. Solving this one, I just have to write 154 divided by 2. My answers for my angles are going to be 77 degrees. All right, questions so far? We're good? All right, 17. Name 4 linear pairs. If you forgot what linear pairs are, they mean that they are adjacent and supplementary. So if you got what adjacent means, it just means they're next to each other and they add to equal 180. So looking at this diagram, okay, next to each other, I have angle 1 and angle 2. I have angle 2 and angle 3. I have angle 3 and angle 4. And the last one, I have angle 4 and angle 1. All right, name 2 pairs of vertical angles. Vertical angles are opposite angles. So I have 1, angle 2, and angle 4. And I have angle 1 and angle 3. Those are my only 2 pairs. And then the last one, it says the measure of an angle is 64 degrees. What is the measure of its complement, which we should know is 90 degrees? And what is the measure of its supplement, which is 180 degrees? So I'm going to go ahead and looking at it, all you have to do is subtract. So 90 minus 64, that's for my complement. I'm going to get 26. So I'm going to write it right here. My complement is 26 degrees. And then my supplement, or supplementary angle, okay, so 180 minus 64, I'm going to get 116. All right, good. Questions on chapter 1? Questions on chapter 1? All right, let's go ahead and look at chapter 2. So chapter 2, for number 3, it says describe the pattern in numbers. Write the next number. Can anybody tell me what did they get for number 3? What is the pattern? Yeah. Good, increasing by 5. Add by 5. So what should my next number be? Good, 14. Looking at number 4, what is my pattern here? Yes. Good, I'm dividing by -2. Or you could have put a multiply by a half, that's fine. Or -1/2. And what would my next number be? Good, 6.25. These are quite a lot to write. I think I have enough time to write them. But they will be posted on Canvas. So number 5, they want me to 5 through 8. Write the if-then form, converse, inverse, and contrapositive of this statement. So I'm going to do my best and write all of these quickly so we don't run out of time. So 5 I'm going to do right here. So I have my if-then. I'm going to do that one first. My if-then is the same thing as writing my conditional statement. All right, so writing this one, all right angles are congruent. So for this, it would be if the angles are right angles, then they are congruent. Looking at the next one, I have converse. I'm switching the order if the angles, I forgot my LES, if my angles are congruent, then they are right angles. Inverse, if the angles are not right angles, then they are not congruent. And then contrapositive, if the angles are not congruent, then they are not right angles. All right, questions on those? All right, let's go ahead and go to number 6. Frogs are amphibians. So writing this one, if an animal is a frog, this is 6. So my if then, if an animal is a frog, then it is an amphibian. Okay, converse. If an animal is an amphibian, then it is a frog. Inverse, I'm going to negate it. If an animal is not a frog, then it is not an amphibian. And my last one, a contrapositive. If an animal, oh, I spelled it wrong, is not an amphibian, then it is not a frog. Most likely these will be multiple choice, okay, on your midterm. All right, and the next one, number 7, this one should be written a little quicker than the last two. Okay, so for this one, I have my if then. If x equals -2, then 5x plus 4 equals -6. Okay, converse, I'm just flipping it. If 5x plus 4 equals -6, then x equals -2. Inverse, if x does not equal -2, then 5x plus 4 does not equal -6. And contrapositive, if 5x plus 4 does not equal -6, then x does not equal -2. That was pretty short. Yeah.
What if you wrote, like, as your if then statement, what if you wrote, if 5x plus 4?
That would be incorrect. They're saying, for this one, they're saying this equals -6 because this. So if x is -2, then this equals -6. That's your conditional statement. That should be the first one. So if you're writing it the opposite way, that's not how the statement's written. Does that make sense? So if this equals -6, because x is -2. So if x is -2, then this is a true statement. Okay. All right, looking at 8. This one's going to be a little lengthy like the rest. All right, 8. Bear with me, I'm almost done with this. Again, my if-then statement, my conditional statement, if a polygon is regular, then it is equilateral. If a polygon is regular, then it is equilateral. Okay, converse, I'm just switching it. If a polygon is equilateral, then it is regular. Inverse, if a polygon is not regular, then it is not equilateral. And then contrapositive. If a polygon is not equilateral, then it is not regular. All right. Any questions on those conditional statements? Was a lot to write. If you typed it, that was fine as well. All right, looking at the next one. If you decide to go to the football game, then you will miss band practice. Tonight you are going to the football game. Use the law of detachment. What statement can you make? What would my statement be? Detachment means to separate. So what would my second part be?
Can't go to band practice.
Good. You will not go to band practice, or you will miss band practice. All right, looking at the next one, it says if Margaret goes to college, then she will major in chemistry. If Margaret majors in chemistry, then she will need to buy a lab manual. Using the law of syllogism, which statement can you make, or what statement can you make? So you're getting rid of that overlap. Yeah.
If Margaret goes to college, then she will need to buy a lab manual.
Good. If Margaret goes to college, then she will need to buy a lab manual. Okay, questions on those? All right, 11, 12, and 13. We could have had multiple different answers for this. It says use the diagram to write an example of the stated postulate. So looking at number 11, a line contains at least 2 points. I need an example of a line that contains at least 2 points. For this one, I'm just going to put line MP. Don't forget your line at the top has to have the arrows. I'm specifically talking about a line, not a segment. Okay, there were multiple answers you could have had. You could have had line RS, line NT, line MN, QN. There's a lot of different lines here. So if you didn't want to write this exact one, that's fine. Looking at number 12. A plane contains at least 3 non-collinear points. For this one, I am going to go ahead and write plane X contains non-collinear means those points cannot be on the same line. Contains points M, God bless you, Q, and P. Okay, those are not on the same line. Looking at the last one. If 2 planes intersect, then their intersection is a line. So 2 planes intersect, I have plane X and Y intersect at, I'm going to do NQ, line NQ, they intersect at line NQ. So that's the one I'm going to use. Okay, you could have also used TQ or QT, yes.
Question. Would Q and P, I'm sorry, M and P be on the same line?
Yes, but because I have one that does not, those points are non-collinear. So it still has to be on plane X, but they're non-collinear. Okay, the 3 points that I said are not on the same line. All right, number 14, this was a proof. Solve the equation, write a reason for each step. So this should hopefully be done quickly. 14, I'm going to have my statements, my reasons. So what's given? I have 9x plus 13. Was it 13? No, just kidding. 31 equals negative 23. So that's given. That's the first one I'm going to use. It's my first step. My second step, I'm not including the work. So I'm going to have 9x equals negative 54. How am I getting there? This was subtraction. And then my third step is just going to be what x equals. X equals negative 6. How did I get there? Division. So we have to remember how to do proofs. 15. Statements, reasons, negative 7 times negative x plus 2 equals 42. That's given. Okay, first thing I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do is distribute. So now I have 7x minus 14 equals 42. I'm going to go ahead and solve. I'm going to add next. So I have 7x equals 56. That was addition, POE. And then lastly, I'm going to get what x equals. And I use division. All right, next, 16. Statements, reasons. I have 26 plus 2 times 3x plus 11 equals negative 18x. That's given. My second step, I'm distributing. Okay, I'm then going to use my third step, which is combine like terms, or you could write it as simplify. 48 plus 6x equals negative 18x. Now I'm going to go ahead and subtract 6x to get my x on one side. So 48 equals negative 24x. And then my last step is to divide. Any questions on the algebra proofs? Yeah. All right, looking over 17, 18, and 19, we're just matching these. So if you're looking at it, 17 is symmetric property. Okay, 18 is reflexive property, and 19 is transitive. Okay, so make sure you double check those. 20, it says use vertical angles congruency theorem to find the measure of each angle in the diagram. Vertical angles mean they're congruent, so I need to solve for x and y. So the first one I'm going to go ahead and do is solve for my x's. I know 3x equals, or 3x minus 21 is going to be equal to the vertical angle, which is 2x plus 4. Solving it, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract both sides by 2x. And then I'm just going to do them all at once. So I'm going to add 21 to both sides. This cancels out. This cancels out. I'm then going to get x equals 25. And then same thing for my y's. I have 7y equals 5y plus 36. Subtract by 5y on both sides. 2y equals 36, divide by 2. Y equals 18. Keep in mind, because these are both congruent, and this is also congruent to this side, I only need to plug it into x, whichever x I want. So I'm going to do 2 times 25. plus 4, I'm going to get 50 plus 4, which is 54. And then same thing for this one, 7 times 18, I'm going to get 126. So my answers, I have 54 degrees, 54 degrees, 126 degrees, and 126 degrees. Any questions on that one? All right, and the last one is our favorite proofs. This is the last one. So statements, reasons, my 2-column proof. Okay, always write what's given. AX is congruent to DX, and XB is congruent to XC. Keep in mind, looking at the diagram, nothing is drawn on my diagram. So I'm going to go ahead and label those using my congruency marks. So AX is congruent to DX. CX is congruent to BX. Now I'm going to look at it and say, okay, I need to be able to solve and prove that AC is congruent to DB. So looking at it, I'm going to go ahead and use segment addition postulate. So next, step 2, I can say XB plus AX equals AC. I could also say, is it XB? No, it's not XB. Let me change that. It's XC. XC and AX is AC. I could also say DX plus XB equals DB or B. We'll do BD because that's how it's written. And this is segment addition postulate. All right, now what could I do? I can go ahead and substitute. I could substitute XC for XB plus DX equals AC. And I'm just going to rearrange the bottom one. I still have the XB plus DX equals BC or BD. I did substitution. All right, and then all I can do for 4, I can get rid of the overlap. I can get rid of the transitive. I could use transitive. I then have AC is equal to BD. And then I can say in the end, keep in mind I have to make it congruent. AC is congruent to BD, and we should hopefully remember what that one was. That's going to be definition of congruent segments. All right, this one was a little lengthy because there was a lot of writing for chapter 2. Do we have any questions on chapter 2? Questions? Bryce?
For the proof, do we have to go by chapter and begin chapter?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
Like, can I try and prove it with the side angle side?
They're not asking to prove side angle side, they're just asking to prove that they're congruent. So you mean writing vertical angles and then proving side angle side and then using CPCTC? Yeah, I don't see why that wouldn't work. Actually, that would not work. Why? Because when you're proving CPCTC, you would be proving that this segment is congruent to this segment, but it's asking for the entire line. Do you get what I'm saying? You can't use that. You wouldn't be able to use that. If you were to use that, then you could prove that in a way this is congruent to this you'd have to do a lot more steps. You'd have to do a lot more steps. Any other questions on these? You are going to have one free response proof and one fill in the blank proof. Okay, on your midterm. Questions, comments, concerns? Good? Okay.